I'm Lucy Edwards, Director of Strategic Engagement at Metaport and VHT Studios. And today I'm with David Marin, Chief Marketing Officer at Coldwell Banker, and we are at Coldwell Banker headquarters.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Happy to talk with you.
And I would love to talk about what's so close to your heart and you are passionate about it, is branding. So you started about 21, 22 years ago. You've been with the same brand
Yes.
all those years. So you must really embracing it. And I think the reason it's so easy for you, it's because you are constantly evolving the branding for Coldwell Banker. And share with us your journey, how you started with creating listing presentations, and then you start rebranding all of the divisions of Coldwell Banker.
Yeah, I started with Coldwell Banker about 21 years ago, March of 2002. And actually, the reason that I joined the brand is because I got laid off from a previous job. I was working for a small agency, and I walked in on Valentine's Day of 2002 and found out I was getting laid off. So I was unemployed for 2 months and eventually found a job on hotjobs.com to be the electronic product manager for Coldwell Banker. And I went into the interview not really knowing anything about Coldwell Banker, but I ended up getting the job. And sometimes some of the things that you think are the bad things in life actually turn out to be one of the best, because me getting laid off allowed me this opportunity to join this amazing brand. I've been here for 21 years since. But you're right, my first day at Coldwell Banker, I walked into my boss's office. He took this 3-ring binder. He put it on the desk in front of me and he said, "This is a listing presentation. It's the backbone of an agent's business, but we have to find a way to make it digital." So I said to him, "Do you mean like turning it into a PowerPoint presentation?" And he said, "Can you do that?" And I said, "Yes." And so he says, "Well, you got 3 months." And I said, "I could probably do it in a week." So I have the honor of creating the first ever PowerPoint listing presentation in Coldwell Banker history. And from that point, really, it's been, I'm really blessed in a career standpoint to be part of this amazing brand for so long and be able to be part of some of the amazing changes that it's made along the way, from the advent of our video first YouTube channel to new mobile applications to what we're doing on social media to then eventually being able to rebrand Coldwell Banker, in the first rebrand in over 40 years.
And that is the fruit of your labor.
Yes, it is. Yes. It looks quite good on the wall there, but that was quite a journey to be part of that, because a lot of people, the brand hadn't changed in over 40 years, right? And so people got used to things, and there was this sense that we don't need to change it because everybody knows what it is. But we did some research in talking with consumers before we even ventured into a rebrand. We want to find out, like, what do people perceive Coldwell Banker as? And when we shared with consumers, hey, here's what we've been doing lately, here's all the innovations that we've been part of, the response from consumers was, your brand is trusted, it's established, we love what you're doing, but you look old. And so perception was holding us back. And I use this analogy, it's almost as if we needed a new suit. And so you go into a job interview, right? You've got the resume, you've got the references, you've got the experience, but you go and you look like Jim Halpert from The Office, and all of a sudden what's on the paper is not matching what's in front of you. Or if you had a new suit, all of a sudden what is on that paper is now matching what people see in front of you. So that's what we saw with our brand, is it needed that refresh, it needed that new look, something that felt a little bit more modern, a little bit fresher, and much more cleaner than the previous logo. And so we developed this North Star imagery, which you see behind us, and applied it across the core brand, Global Luxury, the commercial brand. And while I was initially met with like some angst about why are we changing things, I don't like it, or something else, now today, if you go anywhere, one of my favorite things is when someone sees the old logo, which is only redone about 3 or 4 years ago, and they're like, "Oh man, that thing looks awful compared to what we have now." So really pleased with how that has turned out.
Oh, I certainly enjoyed it. And my first impression was it looks clean. It just really represents something modern, adventurous. And I think it will also attract younger generation to the brand like that. The colors and the look of it.
Thank you.
Which is also very important.
Oh, it is. And this allows us a lot more flexibility. When you're designing the logos these days and even branding, you're thinking about how does it work in a mobile and a social environment first, because that's oftentimes where people are interacting with your brand the most. And this gave us a lot more flexibility using the CB Star icon separately and in social platforms. It really became much more flexible, and it does feel fresher. And the biggest thing that you can see that when people are adopting your brand in a significant way is when they want to put it on their own person. And we sold, I think, nearly $1 million worth of merchandise with the new branding on it over the course of the first 2 years of the rebrand. And that is showcasing that people not only are wanting the brand, but now they're willing to put it on themselves. And that was actually part of the thinking behind the rebrand, is that we didn't get inspiration from other real estate brands, but we actually looked at fashion brands. And so like, how are they treating their marks and their icons? Because we know that people will interact with our brand more on a person, one of our 100,000 agents across the globe, than they will with us as an entity. So we wanted something that would be, people would be proud to wear, that had the flexibility, that looked good. So whether it's on a hat or a jacket or a shirt or a water bottle, all of a sudden it sticks out. And so we have, I'll tell you a quick story.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 4 boys, and one of them is in high school right now. He's a sophomore in high school, Wyatt. And we have portable phone chargers that have the CB branding on it. And so even when Wyatt and then when Logan was in high school, I would have extra phone chargers that I'd get at events. And some of the kids saw my son having them and they're like, oh, can we get one too? So I would give away a phone charger here, a phone charger there. And all of a sudden, the basketball team knew the Coldwell Banker branding. So this past summer, my son Wyatt gets a text from a friend who took a picture of a billboard in upstate New York and says, hey, tell your dad they're using the old logo. And he sent an image of a billboard, had the old logo on it. So I've got my own band of brand ambassadors out there. We're making sure that people are using the logo correctly.
Isn't that something?
It is.
It's amazing that the kid felt the importance of keeping this beautiful, open-minded brand everywhere, and he noticed, he paid attention.
Yes, and they liked the branding. They thought, hey, and when they saw something else that didn't look like that, they knew something was wrong. And they're like, that doesn't look as good. Mr. Marin needs to know this. And so you've now been warned out there. If you're using the old logo, I've got a band of people who are out there checking.
Well, the kid deserves another charger.
He does. He does. I think we got him a water bottle too.
That's a beautiful story, actually.
Thanks.
And continue this conversation about the brand. Agents. It used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago that the agent has to use the company's brand and cannot really step to the right or step to the left, was not allowed. Now it's changing, and you have a whole department that creates branding for agents that they can align themselves with Coldwell Banker, but make themselves a little different.
Yeah, one of my favorite phrases to use about the power of Coldwell Banker is that it's your name next to ours. That's really what makes the combination powerful, and that's why we've been successful for 117 years. So when you put those two things together, you're getting the national and international representation, recognition of the brand to go along with your local expertise and your local sphere that is associated with your name. What I try to do as in charge of marketing for the brand as a whole is make agents want to use our branding. They want to gravitate towards it. We have a history for the last 12 years. We've had the #1 highest rated and most effective ads in the entire real estate industry. And so that's showcasing to them our messaging and our creative that we're developing, we know works with your audience, with your consumers. Take that and use that, and you will become persuasive and showcase your leadership as well. So when you put those two things together, that's really what I think the power of the Coldwell Banker marketing and our brand is. So when you say, hey, we're going to provide national recognition and scope and powerful messaging and creative, take that and align that with your own local expertise, and that is an unbeatable tandem in my estimation.
And I'm sure it's working well. As a matter of fact, we were just at the convention, and Coldwell Banker had an event right after the convention, and everyone had Coldwell Banker. They were dressed, who in suits, who in sweatpants, because it was like afterwards, long day. But they all had Coldwell Banker pins, and a lot of them had the Coldwell Banker sweatshirt or a T-shirt or a hat. And it was fun. They didn't have to.
Yes, but it's pride, and they want to be part of, everybody wants to be part of something that is bigger than themselves. And I think that's the beauty of being in charge of a legacy brand that's been around for over 100 years, is that there is something behind that name. And consumers know it, our own agents and the industry knows it as well. And Coldwell Banker has always stood as a leader in the industry. Being part of a leading brand, I think, means something to people, whether they express it specifically that way or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what gives me the most pride, is when I see agents that are out there that are wearing the branding. And even when I went to a high school basketball tournament in Ohio last year, and someone came up to me because I was wearing my Coldwell Banker jacket, and they said, "Do you work for Coldwell Banker?" And they knew it from across the room, and we got to talking with them in connection, and they were there watching their kids play as well. And that's really the beauty of this network. And while the brand is powerful, while the imagery is beautiful, it really comes down to the people that are part of it. I think when you look from a leadership standpoint, that's part of the brand as a core to our agents that are across the globe. That's really what's made Coldwell Banker successful, and will continue to do so for the next 100 years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, at least 100 years.
Yes, sure.
Well, I also understand that you love storytelling. Storytelling for you, you are passionate about it. You invest a lot of thoughts into how to create one. I believe in storytelling as well by telling the story through marketing tools about the house. You can use the drone footage, you can use the walkthrough video, you can use some beautiful photos, but you are telling the story. And I'll tell you a short story. Once my husband and I, we had our own company, and we were doing photography at one of the houses on Long Island. And the lady was telling me how this dining room for 40 years had at least 50 people for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, wow.
And here is the kitchen where she cooked everything herself, and whoever wanted to come and help. And that was a story. You know, I could imagine myself, I couldn't afford that house, but but if I could imagine myself at that dining room table for so many years, coming in and see the kids grow. And that was a story. So I couldn't really relay that story through my photos, but I recommended the agent to use it somehow, at least in a write-up, that it's just it's really a home. But how do you relay your stories, and how do you introduce it through marketing?
Yeah, storytelling to me is the most powerful tool in a marketer's arsenal, and especially in a sales organization. There's a great book by Peter Guber called Tell to Win, and he talks about using stories to make some of the largest business transactions that he had. And he's been involved in everything from Mandalay Pictures to part owners of the LA Galaxy and so on. I really think that in our industry, even from when I first started, there was always this talk about value proposition. What's your value proposition? How do I explain my value proposition? What's an agent's value proposition? And really, when you substitute value proposition for story, it gets a whole lot simpler. What's the story of Coldwell Banker? We've been around for 117 years. We're the longest running national real estate brand with the most effective advertising in the industry that sells over $280 million in luxury home sales every single day. Like that, to me, that's a story in and of itself. And so what I look for as my team is to try and find ways to, not only just to the consumers, but even to our own agents, to tell the story of what we're doing and how it can be helpful. And we found a ton of success from an advertising standpoint and through our national campaigns through that. Our Dream campaign, which we launched this past year, we found that those that engage with our ads are 3.7 times more likely to work with a Coldwell Banker agent than those that don't view our ads. So if you just show someone our ad, they are nearly 4 times more likely to want to work with you than if they hadn't seen it. Mm-hmm. That's persuasive storytelling in the most effective way, and it's producing the results as well. So everything that we do has a story component to it. And the emotional side of storytelling versus just looking at the facts and figures is really what persuades people. As humans, we are wired to accept stories, but when we're presented with facts, we tend to question them. It's why when you see something is 25% off, the first thing you do is you do the math to see what is that truly. But when someone's telling you about that amazing story of here's how you can use this in this thing, you're accepting that as fact because we're wired to do just that. So that's really why I think that storytelling is a key element to what we do.
And how do you introduce that approach to your agents that they can use storytelling in their presentations, in their everyday life, and how they can relay Coldwell Banker story when they meet a client?
Yeah, so we've really focused on this idea of custom marketing over the past year. And it's how can we take, if we have the most effective ads in the industry, and they're persuasive, you're 4 times more likely to work with us after seeing them. And we know they're producing results on the side, on the end, because we're seeing that for every dollar we spend in media, it's resulting in $10 in revenue. So we've got the full package, but now we just want our agents to be able to use this for themselves. So we've created mechanisms by which they can customize our award-winning, persuasive nationally recognized ads, and then use them locally through custom video, through what's called our marketing center to customize social graphics and different materials there, so that you can take the most persuasive advertising in the industry and then all of a sudden make it your own. And one of my favorite things is over the years, people would see ads, they're like, Dave, that's a great ad, love that ad, but that palm tree is not a Florida palm tree, it's a California palm tree. That cactus is not an Arizona cactus. And so now we've allowed them through custom video to basically make adjustments, add in the imagery that they want specific to their local area, update the end cards with their own call to action, drive people to their local sites. We've taken some of our technology like the Move Meter and CB Estimate tools and allowed agents to embed those full units into their local sites, so that they now have the power of what we're offering on our national sites on their own local sites as well, and they can take our messaging and drive people to their own destinations too. So when you put that all together, it's really giving a perfect marriage of what we're doing from a national standpoint, but allowing it for a hyper-local level.
That is amazing. And that is amazing that someone is really paying attention to great details comparing palm trees.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's even more than that.
I sometimes look at different advertisements in magazines, and here it is. Property is advertised in Florida, and it's published somewhere in Buffalo. If you think they're going to buy that house, you should definitely do that. But you are not substituting something that you want to talk about in Buffalo using palm trees, because that will only upset people. And that's what happened with some of the marketing companies, that they promote, oh, you should be ordering floor plans, and then they show photos with palm trees. That's unacceptable in my opinion.
Well, actually, I don't know that I agree with that, because especially in today's day and age, one of the things we're focused on is really driving sellers. And listing inventory is an issue across the country, right?
Yeah.
And probably globally as well. So in order to increase inventory and to get more sellers, you got to get people to get the heck out of town. So that's what I've been talking to agents, and we open up our dream campaign with the question, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? And oftentimes when I ask people that, very rarely do they say where they currently reside. It's always someplace else. Oh, I wish I could live on the lake. I wish I could live near the water. Oh, I want to be in the mountains. I want a log cabin amongst the trees, whatever that might be. And so if we need to solve the inventory issue, we got to get people to move out of town. So for your example, for Buffalo, there's a ton of people there who say, hey, properties prices have increased. You probably have more equity in your home than you did when you first bought it. Wouldn't you rather get out of this winter? You could still watch the Bills down in Miami Beach if you want, and there might be some cost savings for you as well. So that, for me, is a way that you need to motivate sellers to get out of town, to open up inventory for those new buyers to come into the market. So that's something that we've been focusing on getting agents to understand, is let's talk to those feeder markets. Where are people moving to and where are people moving from into your town, and focus on reaching those folks to showcase to them why they need to be considering a move out of town.
Yeah, in your situation, I agree with you 100%. And the more palm trees, the better for them to pack and move as soon as possible,
Yes.
especially from Buffalo's weather. I used to cover Buffalo, and sometimes it was very unpleasant weather. Though it is a beautiful place in the summertime.
They got a great fan base up there for the Bills as well. I'll give them that.
What can you tell about like your different marketing strategies that you had created, your beautiful logos? What are you proud of the most that you put on a map, and it just like, that's the biggest milestone?
Oh, I have to pick one. There's been so many different things that I've been able to be involved in. Other than the rebrand, since we already talked about that, one of the biggest things was launching our YouTube channel, which at the time was called Coldwell Banker On Location. And YouTube and online video was just at its advent, and we worked with Google and YouTube to create a channel where people could search for videos of properties for sale, listings for sale, of agent profiles, of community videos. And really no one had done that before. And from that point, we started making video a cornerstone of everything that we did. Didn't matter what we were doing, it always had to have a video element in it. We were launching a new campaign, we need a video around that. We're launching a new recruiting program, we got to have some videos that are an element to it. And it really started this internal movement to focus on video. And now today, I was just sharing with another company yesterday, 82% of all internet traffic is to video content. So if you're not producing video, you are taking 82% of the internet and saying, I don't want to talk to you. So we've been doing this for, I think it's now 12 or 13 years now, and being able to continue to build on that foundation, I really think has been an amazing thing for the brand as a whole. And we see our network really adapting to video, especially in today's day and age where video on social is such a major component of what agents are doing and how they're promoting their business.
And you are even doing your own little videos, short videos, where you are sitting in a car. I really like that one. Then you hop out of the car and here you are in the kitchen and then woo, and then you are somewhere else and you are back in the car. So that was cute.
Yes, you have to practice what you preach. So if I'm not producing videos to use to communicate to my team and even the network, then who am I to say that they should be doing that?
But what I liked about that particular video, it was a bit funny, but it was serious. And it was engaging. I watched it to the very end.
Good. That's the beauty of storytelling. It can be humorous, it can be engaging, it can still be informative at the same time. There's a lot of people who think like, well, I have to be serious in talking about this thing, but you're actually going to make it more memorable when you add a personal element into it, which is what I try to do. It's not for everyone, but I find that to be the most effective way of communicating.
As a chief marketing officer, you have a business plan, obviously. And what are the future projects? What's in the pipeline? What ideas are you creating for 2024?
Yeah, we're actually still focused on this idea of a seller strategy, trying to get sellers off the fence, focus on driving inventory. We're actually going into the third year of our dream campaign. And I often tell people it takes 3 years in this industry to get your network to adopt anything. And so we're really starting to see now a huge adoption of some of the things that we've rolled out, like our Move Meter matchup that's in partnership with our Thursday Night Football promotion on Amazon Prime, our use of custom video, where our agents have customized nearly 18,000 videos over the last year that we provided content for them. So looking to really ramp up some of the adoption of those and continue that campaign. We also have some big ideas and some irons in the fire that I'm not going to reveal fully right here, but you can also expect that we also see the luxury market as a big focus for us. I referenced the point earlier, we sell $288 million in luxury home sales every single day through our global luxury program and our network of global luxury specialists. So in the coming year, you can expect that you're going to see some new content from us around that, some new mastermind sessions that we're doing with our agents. We actually just launched a brand new, it's called The Best of the Best, where we surveyed our network of global luxury agents and we asked them, what are the best items that you're seeing in luxury homes that would make it the ultimate luxury kitchen, the ultimate luxury outdoor space, the ultimate luxury bathroom. We compiled this list of items. We just launched it this past week that showcases what truly is the best of the best to make a luxury home. So you're going to expect more of that type of luxury content and integration with our agents in the coming year, as well as a few other things.
Mm-hmm. And just a few words, because I really would like to come back to those beautiful logos that I really enjoy. What do they represent? Well, obviously, Coldwell Banker commercial. Yes. It's all for the commercial real estate. The one to the left is global luxury. So that's the one you are talking about, that you are trying to promote more and invest more energy. And the Coldwell Banker, the North Star, that is the brand for everything else? Yeah,
so the Coldwell Banker in the center, that's the core brand. And really, we created this logo and taking the C and the B, which was actually a small icon in our old logo for 40 plus years. And nobody ever knew really what was there. So we pulled that out, modernized the font. We updated the font underneath to make it more compelling. And then while having your initials in a logo is nice and fine, it needed another element to really separate it apart. So that's why we added the 5-pointed star, which symbolizes the North Star. And the star represents really two things. It's the universal symbol for excellence and has been since Pythagoras first used it back in ancient Greece. It's the reason why we have Michelin stars for excellent restaurants, stars for movie reviews, stars on generals. But also symbolizes the North Star because Coldwell Banker has been guiding people home for 117 years. The North Star is that signal in the sky that can always be counted on to guide you to the place where you need to go. So you put that imagery together and we really created that core imagery for the overarching brand and then decided how can we implement it into some of the other programs that we have, whether it's the global luxury brand on the commercial side, so that it really feels like a unified brand across the board. And it can draft off of what people already know and understand with the Coldwell Banker core brand and apply that to the luxury side of things as well as commercial.
I love that.
Thank you.
That is really great.
Good.
I love the story.
Yes.
Here's the story behind it.
That's the key. You got to have the story behind it.
Let's talk about you personally. You have
Sure.
4 boys, and I understand you have a wife who is a Wonder Woman.
She is, absolutely.
Well, she has to catch up with all your work. I'm sure that it's a lot is involved. Talk about them. So 4 boys, probably a lot of sports, a lot of waking up early, driving to soccer games.
Yes, there's a lot involved. So I have Logan is my oldest, 19-year-old. He's a sophomore in college. Wyatt's sophomore in high school. Owen is in 7th grade, and Cole's in 5th grade. And really, it's a lot of questions sometimes. It's like, well, how do you do all that and balance work and involvement with them? And really the key is you marry well. And
You marry well?
I've married my wife. She's also a full-time teacher in high school.
Oh.
And, but she's really the one that allows us to manage everything that's going on in our home. But yes, very active. We're in the midst of basketball season right now. I actually coach the junior high team for my 13-year-old Owen and Cole, who's in 5th grade. So that takes up a lot of time, but I always try and find ways balancing what I do for a living and then the actual living is really the key. And so I encourage my team as well, if they can be involved in something. I never want someone to miss a Christmas pageant because they thought they had to do something for work. And this was cemented very early in my career, actually, when my oldest son was playing junior high basketball. And I decided not to go to one of his games. It was an away game. And I stayed home instead, and I was doing work or whatever. And then he came home and didn't say anything. And then I heard a call from one of his coaches. And I said, did Logan tell you what happened? And I said, no. Well, he scored his first bucket and ended up being at the very end of the game as the buzzer sounded and everybody was excited for him. And I realized then and there, I missed that. And what I was doing could have probably waited. I could have done it when I got home and nothing would have changed. So I really wanted to make sure that whenever there was an opportunity for me to be part of something that they're doing, that I wanted to be front and center there. And I know that my dad did that for me when I was a kid. I remember him at every single game. And now he's at basically every single one of my kids' games as well. So that's really been an important part, to be active participant in their lives as much as possible, and finding ways to balance that with what I'm doing for work as well.
That was another beautiful story, David.
Thank you.
It's very emotional. That is a really great story.
Good.
I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. All right.
I was not a good mom as far as that concerned. My work was always first, and I regret a lot of it now. Looking back, I ask her for forgiveness every day, my daughter. But she's very successful, and she said, it's okay. You were my role model, how I should be working. And now I have what I have. So
yeah.
I guess in a way it worked.
And there's never an idea of I'm shirking my responsibilities in order to do something else. But to me, my view is your children and your family are your eternal investment. Right? That's what is going to be able to succeed you when this is done. Who knows? In 5 years, no one may ever remember that David Marin rebranded Coldwell Banker, but that's okay. But because if I have my 4 boys and they're able to have productive lives and they feel that they were loved and cared for as part of a good home with the loving parents, to me, that is a greater reward than anything I could produce here.
Absolutely. And trust me, when I missed some of her events, they were not making or breaking the economy of the United States. I could have missed it. I could have done it the day after. So yeah, I greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure your kids do too. And your older one, so what's his major? Is he going to be in marketing?
He's majoring in communications right now. He has shown some interest in marketing, but who knows? Actually, at the end of this year, they do an analysis of your writings, some media elements that you've produced, your presentation skills. And then the school actually does an assessment to say, hey, here's where we see you would be best suited. And communications can range from everything from marketing to journalism to audio, video, or acting in between. But yes, he's doing quite well. So we're pleased with it, and we're curious to see where he ends up doing.
Well, all the best to them.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much, David. I wish all the best to you and to your marketing team, to your family. Obviously, that comes first, and that's what I should preach to my daughter going forward.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. All the best. Cheers, everybody.